Oh no. I have no idea when that stopped film. An issue that people are not respecting. And I y'all, this is the third time I'm trying to make this video. I don't know what keeps happening. The first time, uh, I was not paying attention while I was doing my eyeshadow, and the camera just shut off because it shuts off after 29 minutes. The second time, the audio cut out because of a bad SD card, and I was unable to recover any of it. So this time, I'm taking all the precautions. I am double checking my time. I have a secondary audio source because, yeah, I want to make this video. And in case you didn't notice, I'm not wearing my usual nails as I did in the past two videos because they were starting to come off. So I was gonna do my in-between videos. I was just gonna take them off. But so yeah, now I look wild and I'm just like, oh, okay. Honestly, if this doesn't work this time, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So let's just hope and pray that the third time is the charm because ow, I just hit myself in the face. Hello, sinners, and hail Sappho. I'm your favorite femme princess, Narcissa DeVille, and welcome to Femme Makeup Chats. Okay, so let us get into it because this video is going to be all about studs. I wanted to make this video. I'm very, very excited about this video. That's why I'm filming it for the third time because this is actually something that I'm really passionate about and this is something that I want to talk about. Also with this video, because I'm doing a love for the love of studs type of video, I also wanted to use all of my favorite Black-owned makeup brands. So we're starting with the Juvia's Place concealer. I almost called it a contour. It's okay. It's still early in the morning. It's gonna be fine. I hadn't used this in years before I made this set of videos. And I forgot how much I really liked it. So I think I'm going to bring this back into rotation. This concealer, now that I'm using it again, has actually really been giving me life. So I'm going to put this back in my rotation, I think. I am a little concerned because I don't know when I bought this at this point, and it's only like a 12-month shelf life, but I've been fine so far, so I'm gonna knock wood that it's gonna be fine. Honestly, at this point, like, unless bad makeup curses your videos, I don't know. But I don't have anything else, so, you know, I don't have any other concealer that'll work for this category, so we're gonna have to go with this, so I think it'll be fine. Also, I'm kind of torn about what makeup look I'm doing because I really, you know, the last two videos I've done a very lovely royal purple kind of look. I'll post the pictures right over here. And those have been great. I love the purple. Next up for my eyeshadow, we are going with the Glamlight Barbie palette. I am obsessed with this palette and I am obsessed with everything Glamlight does. I honestly, like, would buy anything from them at this point. If they made a foundation, I would be thrilled. I'm more of a cream foundation girl, to be honest, but I think even if they made a liquid, I would take it. So I'm going to be going in with Bestie. That is the color I have used every single time. I'm pretty much going to be sticking with the Barbie palette, which I think is kind of appropriate for a video from a femme anyway. I really wanted to make this video talking about my love of studs because A, I think it's super, super important. And B, you know, studs do not get enough love. It's kind of like, you know, this is the community we are in is a very, very small community. And even within this community, studs are underseen, underappreciated, undervalued. And I think that's so sad. And I wanted to do something to change that. And of course, you know, I can't deny I know why that is. It is still unfortunate that that's the case. And, you know, I will be getting into some history of studs and all of that. So don't you worry, I'm going to get into some history and things like that. And you know, one of the issues too is like studs are underseen, but when they are seen, they are often maligned and misrepresented even more than butches are. So one thing I do have to say, obviously right off the bat, and I don't want to make this the focus of the video, it's been said many, many times before, but it does need to be said at the top of this video just so that we get it out of the way. Stud is a term that is exclusively for black sapphics. Please, 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 white sapphics, do not use the term stud. This has been a conversation many, many times. I am not the first person to say this, but it continues to be an issue. So clearly it continues to need to be said because this just, it keeps being an issue. So I just wanted to say that right off the bat. And, you know, I'll get into, in this video, I do get into, you know, the history of the term, why it's not a term that can be used by, you know, white masculine sapphics, but it's just, I think it's important to say it right off the bat. And here's the thing too, is like, butch is right there. They're not a one-to-one thing, but the term is right there. So I don't really know why, and again, this is not something that's a new conversation, so it almost feels like, you know, it clearly goes on, you know, it clearly goes unheard by the people who need to hear it, because this is not a new conversation by any stretch of the imagination. Like, this is a conversation that has been had many, 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 many times at this point, and it's being ignored. Part of the reason stud is not a term that can be used by white sapphics is because of where it originates from, the history behind it, the reason that stud as a word exists. Because again, like I said, it's not a one-to-one with butches. Yes, it is the same idea of like sapphic masculinity, but it's, you know, mask and butch is not the same thing either. Just like, you know, they're not all synonymous with each other is what I'm saying, but they do come from similar places. So the precursor to the word stud was actually bulldagger, which I know there are a lot of people who have, you know, complicated relationships with that term. So I'm not going to like harp on that too much, but that is kind of the precursor to it from what I could see from the research that I was able to do. I will cite my sources down in the description box. So I'm going to cite my sources so you will be able to kind of see the articles that I was able to find and kind of get an idea. It does kind of stem from that. It did start in the 1930s in the Harlem Renaissance, and then stud itself kind of took over as a term during the 1940s and 50s, which is around the same time that butch and femme became a thing. But stud became a thing specifically as like a response to the fact that as with now, let's be honest, the butches and femmes of the time did not respect their black sapphic counterparts. And so they're like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to create my own term in my own community where I can feel appreciated. And so that is how stud was born. I do also want to note that I did discover that the equivalent for femme is actually fish originally. Now, I know that's a term that's kind of fallen out of favor for a lot of reasons. There's been a lot of like discourse about that. I'm not going to get into that. That's not the point of this video. But I did want to mention that because I did find that very interesting, because that is not something I knew, because I know plenty of black sapphics who identify as femme. So I had never known there was like another word for that. So I did think that was very, very interesting. And like, I understand why it fell out of fashion. Obviously it has kind of complicated connotations, but again, we're not gonna delve too far into that, but I do get why that would fall out of fashion. And I'm glad that it seems like for the most part, stud hasn't really fallen out of fashion. I mean, obviously, you know, people can use whatever term they want. I do know black masculine sapphics who use butch and stud. It's kind of, you know, whatever they're most comfortable with. So I do know people use both, or, you know, one over the other. So it's not like a requirement to use stud, but I'm glad to see that the word hasn't completely fallen off. You know what I mean? Am I done with this eye? Oh, no. I was gonna do, I mean, I will say the makeup looks gorgeous every time I do it. I love purple on me. I will say that. Ooh, probably should use like tape that is meant for my skin, but why would I learn? Okay. And since we're talking about studs, I do think we have to talk about one of the most famous studs, which is, of course, Storme Delavere. If I'm saying that wrong, I'm so sorry. I'm going to put in a pronunciation in this video because I've said it 3 times now, and every time I'm not sure about the last name. They were, of course, there at the Stonewall riots. I know, I feel like they're only in the last like 5 years really getting their props, which is really sad, but I'm glad that they finally are. Let's say that. So Storme was a drag king, and a lot of the articles that I have seen do refer to them as a butch. Now, I don't know if that is like the ignorance on the people who's writing it, because it seems like it's like a lot of, you know, maybe cishet resources that are writing it that maybe don't know. I don't quite know. Because I did find there is a official National Park Service article about Storme, which I thought was very interesting. I don't know if like National Park Service also includes like sites that are considered historical, like important historical sites like Stonewall, or I bring that up because that article specifically, I know, did refer to Storme as a butch. So make of that what you will. One thing also I discovered that was very interesting, and that I think it points to a larger kind of issue, is I did not know that Storme was actually only passed recently in like 2014, which is so wild to me because I feel like we lost so many people from that time period, though, because I mean Stonewall literally was only 50 years ago, like maybe 53 or something like that. It was like 2019, so 54. So it wasn't that long ago, but we had already lost so many people from that time that I guess I just kind of assumed that everyone from that time was already gone because, you know, and again, I don't remember hearing that name anytime I heard about Stonewall, you know, in the past. And of course, like I said, we know why. You know, the lesbian community is often not seen, and studs especially are not seen or given credit, or their props or their roses, you know, and that's unfortunate, especially because of the importance. I mean, their role was really, really pivotal. So as the story goes, as I understand it, that part of the reason Marcia actually threw the first brick was because Storme had been arrested by the police during that raid, and she was kind of like, are y'all gonna do anything or what? And you know, of course, some people were just like, well, let's party in the street. But thankfully, Marcia was like, okay, well, let me. Because here's something interesting. So, Storme was actually known as kind of like the protector of that area. Like, she would walk the streets and protect the girls from all kinds of, you know, horrible things. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that side of the story because that, I mean, that's just, isn't that just the way? Like, when I think about studs, I cannot help but think about their protectiveness and how much they want to protect everyone. I really appreciate that story because, you know, look, let's say what it is. You know, unfortunately, as a rule, masculine sapphics do tend to be viewed as very aggressive, very predatory, very like scary and, you know, mean and masculine. And studs get that even more because white supremacy, like, we're just calling it what it is. It sucks and it's awful, but I think we have to acknowledge what it is, because if we don't, nothing gets changed. So, you know, let's call a spade. It's white supremacy. And it leads to a situation wherein studs are even more maligned than even butches. They are seen as even more, you know, scary and aggressive, and yet also even more sexualized because, of course, Of course those two things go hand in hand. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Instabake Aqua Glass Foundation by Beauty Bakery. I absolutely love Beauty Bakery. This used to be kind of my ride or die foundation. It's still really good. The only reason I don't really use it anymore, except for these videos, is because I kind of prefer a cream foundation. This is a liquid, so it's not like my all-time fave. I'm more of like, I like my foundation thick. I imagine if Beauty Bakery ever made a cream foundation, I would be so down. But as of yet, they have not made one. So I just kind of have to stick with this, which is fine. Okay. It's also, I think it's considered, I can't remember if it's considered a matte foundation or what. I always powder every foundation down because it makes it easier for me, but I don't know if this is considered matte or not. Okay, so now that I got my foundation on, we're gonna go back with the Juvia's Place concealer and just conceal, don't feel, under my eyes where I have a little bit of fallout. I think that might be just glitter from the last 3 times I've done this, because fun fact, glitter does not like to go away. Oh, that really brightens me up. I will say that. And I like that. And then we are going to go in with, this is why, another reason I hope this works out really well, because we are going in with the last of my flower powder, which is by Beauty Bakery as well. This is like the last little bit that I've got. So let's hope this one works out, because I don't have much more of this. I'm also going to have to be quiet during this because, fun fact, this does get everywhere, which is kind of like just a loose powder thing. Okay, so we're all powdered down. Now it is time for blush. And for my blush, I have been really enjoying the Juicy Boost palette by Colored Rain Cosmetics and the shade Watermelon Detox. You can see it's gotten a lot of love. It's this middle shade. It's getting into my blue. I did have an actual blush that was a Beauty Bakery blush that came in like a trio. I don't dislike it. It's just not what I'm needing right now. So it's not giving me the boost, the juicy boost. So, I mean, look, the crux of this video is ultimate. That palette just fell. Oh boy. All right. Let's put you somewhere else, huh? Let's put you right here. Okay. So anyway, the crux of this video ultimately is that, why do I keep saying the crux of this video? What is with me in that term? I've said that in the last like 2 videos. The point of this video is I just really wanted to talk about my love and affection for studs, because they do not get enough love and affection, especially like out of their relation to butches. I think a lot of times when conversations, and I'm guilty of this myself, a lot of times when we talk about studs, it's in relation to like butches and studs. And again, those are not necessarily, you know, one-to-one terms, just like stud and, or excuse me, just like butch and mask are not necessarily, and stud are not necessarily one-to-one terms. So, you know, it's like, and I think studs deserve their own video, their own appreciation video, their own love video. And so that is what this is about. Giving studs love and appreciation. And that's why I've done this 3 times now, because it is that important to me. And that's why I'm hoping this really works. And if I only have audio, then maybe this is a podcast. I don't know. I don't know how I would just have audio, but at this point, I'm not ruling out any possibility. So I'll just like take a picture of my look and post the audio in a video format with the picture on top, or yeah, on top. I would love to see more content that features studs, to be honest. I think that's more than necessary and more than time. I actually did see, very interestingly, before I filmed this video the first time, I saw a Instagram post that featured a stud who's a singer, and they were talking about like their experience and how they're actually bi and just kind of their whole experience with that. And I thought that was really interesting because that's not a conversation we get to hear very often. That was really cool. My point with all of that story is just like, I think we need more content featuring studs and more. I would like to see it more. So, I mean, ultimately, this video is a call to, you know, show your appreciation for studs. Show them some love. You know, I would love to see in the comments people talking about their... Okay, sorry, I don't ignore those sounds. I would love to see in the comments people talking about their favorite studs, maybe some stud history that I didn't cover. I would love for people to just show some love to studs. That's pretty simply what I'm going to ask for this video. I just think it's so important. I'm going to stick with my purple lip, but I'm not going to do anything fancy over it. I had been putting eyeshadow over it, but I'm going to keep it simple this time. As much as my makeup can be simple, you know? Final thoughts for this video is I just really, really love and appreciate studs. I really want to share that love. I hope that down in the comments you are sharing some love specifically for studs. You are sharing your favorite studs, just any kind of thing you want to tell me, because I really want to hear it. I think it's really important. So yeah, that's the look, that's the vibe. How are we feeling? I really hope this worked out this time. I just really want this to work, okay? I really want this to work. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like, subscribe to my channel. I'm almost to 600 and I'm very, very excited about that. And until next time, stay devilish. This really doesn't work without the nails, I gotta tell you. Oh, I didn't even do my obligatory selfie montage, because that is my favorite thing to do. I got this new camera case. Isn't that gorge? And then I DIY'd it and painted it orange and pink and did the glitter on it, so it looks super cute. Okay. Okay, that's enough of that.